I had an experience at one point. Well, I was somebody who didn't really feel very masculine growing up, not to the point of, sort of total gender confusion or anything like that, but just a sense of being out of touch with my masculinity, a sense of not feeling the dignity of my masculinity, not being affirmed in it. And then I had this experience at one point of going on a couple of dates with a very holy young woman, and I received from her this affirmation and like sort of compliments towards my masculinity that I had never really received before, certainly not from a woman. And I actually found that to be a profoundly healing and powerful thing to encounter, particularly within the realm of chastity and the fight for chastity. Um, and to a surprising extent, just receiving that kind of affirmation of my masculinity, um, and being able to see myself as fully masculine actually made the fight for chastity much easier than I would have expected. I hadn't realized up until that point how much difficulties with chastity are linked up, at least in my experience, with uh, a wounding of masculinity or femininity, as the case may be, and that as much as we talk about that we should observe sexual morality for the sake of human dignity, that also being dignified in one's masculinity or femininity can be incredibly helpful in healing those patterns of behavior that are contrary to sexual morality. So I just wanted to bring that up because that's so related to the themes of integrity and wholeness in the book, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the relationship between that sense of dignity in our whatever our one sex may be, and the ability on a practical level to live chastely.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think it's a deeply significant experience you had, and I dare say it's an experience that many people will be able to recognize themselves in, or perhaps recognize. It will help people to recognize that perhaps they haven't had that experience, but that they
Yeah.
long to be seen for what they are. And in fact, I mean, as you will have noticed in the book, it's a motif that I develop because I think it is absolutely crucial that, in a patristic reading of what it is to be a human being, particularly in the Greek fathers, they make a lot of the fact that to be a human being is to be a person. To be a person in Greek is to be a prosopon. And the basic meaning of that word, to be a prosopon, is to be someone who has a face. The Greek for a face is ops, and pros is a preposition meaning towards. So to be a person is to have a face which is oriented towards, well, what? Well, have a face which is oriented towards the face of another, which is oriented towards mine. So in order to be fully a person, I desire, I long to meet the gaze of another, to see myself being seen. And only thus, the fathers would say, am I realized. Only thus can I become free. Only thus can I grow and really see myself for who I am. And this is tantalizingly and wonderfully linked to the mystery of the Blessed Trinity, where we confess and believe in a Godhead which is precisely a conglomeration of seeing and being seen. And so I think part of the tragedy for many people today is that we think we're sort of stuck with having to work ourselves out on our own. Well, possibly with the help of an iPhone screen or a computer screen or something. And that we feel that we have this need to sort ourselves out, to get all the tools and the equipment we need to find our own fulfillment, and then go out and meet the world. Whereas, as you have experienced, and it's generous of you to share that experience, to be a human being is to be fragmented. It is to be incomplete. And it's only when I dare to let myself be seen in my incompleteness, perhaps with my complexes, with my sense of lack and absence, and find myself seen by someone who recognizes not only what I am or what I have been, but who sees me for what I am able by the grace of God and simply the natural processes of growth, what I'm able to become. That's what gives me dignity and freedom and confidence. And I think we can also add joy, because there is a great joyfulness in being seen for what I am and for recognizing in the gaze of another what I have it in me to become. And of course, in all of this, which we can, I think, recognize empirically in human relationships, in friendships, in intimate relationships, in all this, we have an image of what it is to be a child of God, living before the face of God. Because, I mean, what is prayer if not ultimately learning to live with that sort of openness, vulnerability, trust, and confidence before the face of God and letting myself be seen? It is extremely and eternally significant and fascinating that the first consequence of the fall from grace, as Scripture recounts it, is a spontaneous hiding.
Right.
Of man and woman hiding both from each other and from God.
Right.
It is a search not to be seen, to render oneself inconspicuous, and even to reconfigure oneself by taking what can be found in the realm of matter. And learning to be healed of the consequences of the fall is precisely to become once again able to see and to be seen freely and without fear and without violence.